It's always a delight to be with you on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Good to be back after a short vacation. Today on the program, we'll look at something quite interesting on the road to the 2023 general elections. Of course, we operate three tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. But in recent times, there's been strong conversations for and against between the federal and the state government, with the federal government accusing the state governors of being responsible for the wanton poverty in the land. Well, as expected, the state governors are also firing back. So today on the show, we look at the impact of governors, the debate between the state and the federal government. And that's against the background that when you look at the state of affairs in the country, things are not the way they ought to be. It's not a question of blame game. It's about looking at where we're coming from, where we are today, and where we are going as a people, and the need for us to take our destinies in our hands. I'd like to welcome very especially our panelists for today. Honorable John Yakubu is a former chairman, Eastern Northeast Local Government Council, a businessman, and also a politician. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, viewers.
We also have with us in the studio a grassroots politician, veteran politician, public affairs analyst, Barrister Gentleman Amengo. Barrister Amengo, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's just look at some of the numbers that we have as it relates to poverty level in the country. This one says, given the effects of the crisis, however, the poverty head count rate is instead projected to jump from 40.1% in 2018-2019 to 42.0% in 2020, and then 42.6% in 2022, implying that the number of poor people was 89.0 million in 2020 and will be 95.1 million by the end of the year 2022. So you're not surprised that Nigeria has been so dubbed the poverty capital of the world. I don't know if that has changed. But let's get back to our panelists here on the show. Joe, let me begin with you. Governance is the responsibility of those who have the opportunity to lead, whether at the federal, at the state, and the local government. But we've seen the tantrums coming from the federal government. I recall the Minister of State for Budget, Clem Agba, brought out that bombshell that state governors are building bridges, they are building roads, focusing on things, they are not prioritizing the resources at their disposal. That is why the poverty level in Nigeria is so high. Let's take it off from there.
Well, let me quickly say, first of all, that the statistics that you just read out is not even correct. Bogus. When you say 80-something million people, by your percentage, 42 or thereabout, honestly speaking, it's far more higher than that. The level of poverty in our country. Who were those assessed? Sonny Duke. Yes, the fact that you're here with us working in ITV is not a sign to show that what you earn is able to take care of what you're supposed to do. So the level of poverty is higher. And if we have agreed that Nigeria is not the poverty capital, we have overtaken India, the poverty capital of the world. It's a sad story. Honestly speaking, for Clem Agba, one of the ministers, to come out to begin to shift blame on governors of not doing what they're supposed to do, of constructing bridges, of constructing roads. I'm happy that he even said they are constructing bridges and roads. To a very large extent, whether you like it or not, those bridges and roads will impact on the life of the people. What is the federal government doing? There is no federal road in this country, anywhere, across the entire nation, that you can successfully navigate and say, oh yes, I am passing through this road today, beautifully done, good, because it is done by federal government. They have abandoned their responsibility. It's a shame for federal government to begin to shift blame. Yes, nobody is here to begin to probably praise the state and the local council, but do your bit first. They've not done theirs. They've not done anything. For over 5 years or so, or 8 years, they've wasted the resources of this nation for nothing, for themselves and their cronies. And for you now to begin to come out and begin to blame the state government of constructing roads and bridges. If those roads and bridges, I want to take a particular example. Those roads and bridges that were done in Port Harcourt, if it's referring to Port Harcourt, they are federal road. People are suffering there. If the state have decided to come out to say, let's alleviate the suffering of the people by making sure that the flyover is provided in those places, are they blaming them? Take, for example, today, Ikpoba Hill on Rama Park is a federal road. What is the federal government doing to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians, adults, plying that road on a daily basis where you spend over 4 to 5 hours because of hold up? If the state government is coming up today to say, yo, yes, though this place is a federal road, what we do, we needed to provide a flyover so that our people can move freely. Is the federal government saying that they're not doing well? Yes, we are not here to praise the state government, but it will be wrong for federal government that have completely sideline the people of this country to begin to blame the state government.
Okay. Thank you very much, John. Brastamengo, recently we heard this conversation about some 13% derivation funds that are accrued to the state since 1999 or thereabout that eventually were released. The people didn't know about it until the strong man of Port Harcourt politics made those startling revelations. If you take that as a case in point, it goes to show that every now and then governors have access to funds. Why are these funds not reflected in the lives of the people? When the bubble burst, people started asking questions. We have governors that started confessing like witches and wizards as to what we did, what they didn't do. I'd like to get a take on this.
Well, thank you, Duke. Again, we have said this thing before in a similar program. If you say you have given out 10 naira, for example, the recipient says, yes, you gave me 10 naira, you also gave Duke 5 naira. And Duke comes down and says, no, you didn't give me 5 naira. Then he's doing what against his own word. How do we know the truth now? This thing has been on. Let the government come and say, federal government come and say, yes, I actually gave you 10 naira. What did you spend 10 naira on? What do you call it? Wiki has said what he was given. All the other governors have said, no, he didn't give us. Our own, for example, said he only got 2.1 billion. Where is the truth? Where does the truth lie? The truth lies with the federal government. Where don't you come out and say, I gave you, Mr. Governor, I gave you 10 billion. What are you expecting? In any case, those are not the area that are bothering us. That is not the area that is bothering the people.
So you're saying that holding government accountable, responsible, and being transparent in how they deploy the resources of the people is not something that should bother us.
You must call a banana, not banana mango. You must identify where that money came through and who you gave the money to. That's what we are saying. Wiki has said so. The government has said, no, let us leave politics out of a matter like this. Let us speak the truth to the people. Federal government now should now come out and say, no, I didn't give you 2.1 billion. I gave you 21 billion. Let everybody hear. Then our Senate will be directed to the recipient of that money. What did you spend this money on? Like my brother here was talking about the statement of Agba. Did you give him money and you said to him, I will monitor the way you spend this money? If the constitution is defective, let us amend the constitution. You can't bring out money and come and say, oh, state governors are responsible for the poverty of the nation. That is nonsensical. Because the statement is very fluid. We should make it more seriously so that we know where to direct our attack to. So coming to your point, sir, there are people who are poor. There will always be poor people in this world. That's what God said. There will always be poor people. But if you are giving out money, let the nation know. Let the people know. I am giving out, if I give out 1,000, tell you I'm giving you 5,000. There's something to be kept secret about it. Shouldn't be in secrecy. It should let everybody is our patrimony. So we are waiting for the federal government to say something. Nobody can steal 60 billion, for example.
No.
No governor can steal it at once. You say I gave you 60 billion. Where is the say I stole it? You kept it where? Where did you keep 60 billion? You know what 60 billion is? No governor can take that kind of money. It's not all over the country. Okay. No governor.
All right.
So let them come back with the tax. Don't call Mago banana. Let's call Mago by his name.
All right, John, yes. I thought you wanted to lap up on that.
No, what I want to say is this. First of all, like my leader said here, though federal government to a very large extent, I think about 2 weeks ago, decided to release some figures based on the releases which they did. But you see, like I said, honestly speaking, if it is a fact that only 2.1 billion was released from over 30-something billion being owned the state, 2.1 billion is just about, out of the total budget of last year, it's less than 5% or less than 5%. Out of the total budget of the state. So there is no way you can now begin to say because you released 2.1 billion out of a total sum of over 30-something billion, you are now a monitor. Or you now begin to find out how things are done. Where is the money meant for the state? How have you applied it? That is the question we should begin to ask and begin to look at how these things are spent. Honestly speaking, there is a kind of, will I call it diabolical spirit they call on the part of people who are governing us. That spirit they call that is hidden. Releasing the few that they think will make the people to talk. Yes, at a time we're not started debating of 2.1 billion. Yes, it is 2.1 billion. What have you done as a government? In all honesty, I think the federal government has failed completely. Completely. Yeah, they should hide their head in shame.
Well, that's a subjective.
No, it's not.
It's subjective.
No, look.
Because there are certain sectors that you would have seen performance.
Sonny, look at the.
When we make sweeping statement, that's what I'm making.
There's nothing sweeping. There's nothing sweeping.
We need to situate the problem.
Hold on. There's nothing sweeping about saying the truth to power, about telling the people what we said here is not to the ordinary man on the street. Today we don't even know where we are. What we want in terms of everything, the fuel situation, the food situation, everything. The economy of this nation has collapsed. Is it because we still can trek to ITV and come here to begin to talk? Is that why you think that the economy is moving? No. A situation where you now have to borrow to buy fuel for 350 naira in some places in this country, and government is saying, no, we have asked them to sell it for 165. Is that a government? So when we talk like this, I think the federal government by now, I agree by now, like Agba said, they are saying, yes, we have hands up, we have tried our best, this is the best we can do. I think the people should begin to think immediately of who to replace them. It will take the next 5 months for us to have a replacement. That is where we should be, because they've done their best, they cannot do more than this. They've reduced us from where we were, we have overtaken it there, to now become the poverty nation of the world. Look, Sonny, it's so sad that this is where we are. Productivity is zero. And the little that is available is used to feed the people in government. They are all living fat, feeding fat from the common patrimony of this nation. Can you point to a legislator today or a governor that is suffering? Can you? And see the convoy with which they move? Is there any sign to show that we are a poor nation? Is there any sign to show that we are a poor nation when they drive the highest car in the world, Land Cruisers, that are sold for over 100 million? How? How do you feed on the pulse of the common man for yourself and your kids, and you believe that the nation will be quiet over this? A time will come when Nigerians will begin to ask questions. Okay. And that time is now.
Okay.
You remember Ali?
Yeah.
Governor Ali?
Yeah.
He was in prison for allegedly stealing 900,000.
Not 900 million.
No, 900,000
million naira.
No,
just now
100,000, less than a million.
Less than a million. And in the whole official, nobody could pay that money. He went to jail. Esama became very disturbed. Esama woke up early morning and said, we must bring
Ali out of prison.
I was there. We went to Ibadan. Paid the 900,000. I mean 900,000 that you can give your girlfriend. That will tell you what has changed from that time
to now.
What is 900,000? Less than a million. The government went to jail. Now we are talking in terms of billions, we are talking in terms of trillions.
Criminally minded people.
Something that is ancillary to this conversation is the plight of local government, because that's why I started by saying that we have the federal, state, and local government. Over the years, this has been a thorny issue. Recently, I think it was in 2018 that the vice president made this comment that over $3 billion is hanging in the air with some organizations. They can't trace it. If we had that kind of money, we probably would have fixed the second Niger bridge and maybe deal with the east-west road that has become a recurring decimal and all of that. But these issues are there. And in most states of the Federation, I just want to be modest, if not all states of the Federation, local governments are literally being controlled by state government. What do you make of that as a challenge in terms of affecting the lives of the ordinary people? Because we're talking about funds that are coming into the states, both at the state allocation and even the local government allocation.
Duke, what you have brought us back to now can give somebody tears. I listened to Vice President Osibanjo say it himself that we have been pursuing $3.8 billion. I'm using my full mouth. $billion. You're not talking of naira. So if you know your mathematics, you can go and convert that to see what we are looking for. That the government with all the paraphernalia of the office cannot trace the $3 billion, over $3 billion. And that it is done by only 3 organizations or 3 individuals. We have been pursuing them for some years now. Please, Mr. Vice President, tell us who they are. Who are the people that are stealing our own money? $3.8 billion. So that we go after them. We can go on holidays, all the 200 million people, we go after these 3 companies or 3 individuals. They'll give us our money. You know what that would do to us in this country? $3 billion. Nigeria is a very rich country. That's enough to put us into recession completely. But today, nothing is happening. Just said, we are still looking, we are still trying. I know Sebastian closely. I'm surprised that he's just saying, we are looking for it, we have been looking for it. Tell us where they are. He knows the 3 people. We go after them.
Okay. John,
I think this is it's not an issue you will go bring up before me. Because when you talk about council, local government, it is a sad situation. You really don't have local government.
In reality?
In reality, you don't have them. Appendages. They are just a step from the governor's office. I speak like this today because of what I experienced as council chairman for 2 years and 10 months. It was a battle of who will control the fund for which I was elected. It was a battle. So for the president to have come out about 3 weeks ago to begin to talk about local government fund not properly administered or stolen by government, I mean it is a belated issue. If for 7 years you did not say anything, you did not do anything to it, and 3, 4, 5 months to the expiration of administration, this is the time you just realize that council money are being stolen. I mean, it's a sad situation. Sonny, on this program, while I was chairman of council, I shouted to high heaven of how my money was being taken, was being stolen by the governor of the state. It went to the House of Assembly. A time came when it was not, they were not able to do it wrongly. They asked us, 18 of us, I'm speaking today here because we were 18 local government chairmen in the state at that time.
Well, you use the word being stolen. I'm not just comfortable with that word.
No, what I mean by stolen.
The word my money.
My money. It's the council's money.
Okay, council's money.
It's not this money.
Okay, all right.
So this and no. Yeah. What I mean by stolen, taken wrongly, used for nothing.
Okay.
A time came when I was the council chairman. You remember the papers are there, records are there. A time came, I am leader, and the governor said, look, now that we have no way of taking it, Yakubu is shouting, let's let them, 18 of them sign, ceding 10% of the council's allocation to the state. We are 18. They are listening to me by the grace of God today. Okay. 17 of them signed, and I refused to sign. Okay. Because I said I was not signing, and I did not. When the House of Assembly finally, under Zakawanu, finally called that issue to question, the then permanent secretary went to the House of Assembly and defended herself. I said, yes, the remaining 17 signed. Yakubu didn't sign. For that reason, we didn't take his money. But I want to tell you, they signed out of fear. Why should I be afraid if I didn't sign, you asked me to go? I got back to my father's house. But what we're saying here is this. We must rescue the local government from the hands of the state governors, because they are virtually nothing. They are messengers. They are told what to do with the little that is available. Okay, go and do A, go and organize social seminar, go and do B, bring the other one for us. He will sign for it. I want to use the word again. What I mean by satanic spirit call. They know it's satanic. What they are doing is satanic. They know, but because it is a coven-like thing, no chairman, not because of the way they came in, they were not properly elected, they are afraid. So for that extent, any council chairman who is not speaking now and think after his tenure he will come out to say, oh, governor took my money, he's a liar. He's lying from the pit of hell. Say it now so that at the end of the day you vindicate yourself. So I want to say again and again and again that it was too late for the president. If he wants to rescue the state, the local government, they should sign the local government autonomy law so that local government can stand on their own. So that the people you voted for, the councillors you voted for, you can hold them by the throat and say, look, the money available in this council is meant for us, you must use it for us. As we speak today, Buhari, our president, was speaking the truth, but he was speaking the truth too late.
Okay.
Sir,
yes.
You have heard from the office man. If he's a liar, arrest him.
The figures are there. Leader, let me tell you an issue which you can go and verify. When we were leaving office in 2010 October, my council had about 74 million excess crude money that came in April of that year. I pleaded, wrote letters, memo to the state governor to approve for us to tar the remaining 2 roads that would have made it 10 roads that would have done. He refused. Okay. It was not approved. To that extent, I could not access the money. And when we left, my leader, in December that year, I'm saying verify, they spent that money during Christmas. Okay. So what do you get from there?
Interesting. If you just join us, it's Politics Today on independent television and radio. Quite a jolly good time engaging all of these issues and the build up to the 2023 elections. But I'm a bit concerned that just now we're talking about funds that are coming to states that are not properly accounted for only until recently. Just now we're talking about local governments being appendages of state government. Just now we're talking about over $3.8 billion that we can't account for, we just can't find. And the list goes on. It goes on and on and on.
It's shameful.
But Nigeria remains in a parlous state in terms of poverty, in terms of the poor state of economy, in terms of hardship. Christmas is just around the corner. When you go around, sample the views of people, you know exactly how people are feeling. Pastor Mengo, all of these talks just now, are they mere rhetorics to distract the people from the core issues in the build up to the election? Are they just mere political issues?
No, they are not. We are talking. We expect that we are talking to people. We are trying to reawaken the people. Let them know what they want. That's why we are talking. We are not idle people. We are just reminding them what we have passed through, what we are likely to pass through, and where we are right now. People should listen and say, okay, let us take XYZ action. It is made for people to take action. We cannot remain like this for goodness sake. We are suffering. What belongs to us must be given to us. That's the law of nature. You can't just be robbing us every time like that, and we are not talking. That's why we are taking the risk to come and talk. We have spoken now. Chairman has spoken and said all that he passed through in the local government. So what do you want to hear? Okay. You have heard.
Okay. We'll take...
yeah. Person just said, I have spoken to you people.
Yes.
I don't know what he said, but he said he has spoken. Okay. God has also spoken to him.
Now, I'll get to that point in a moment. We'll take a short break. It's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. We'll be back with you in a moment. Don't go away. Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. Impact of governance, the debate between states and federal government, if you like, federal government and state government in terms of resources and the tangible, feelable, touchable, visible impact that we can see is the major conversation that we're having on the show today. And that brings us to a very critical part of this discussion, which has to do with the 2023 elections. In spite of all of these challenges that we're having, how ready are Nigerians to rescue the country, to take the country back and put it on the path of peace, progress, and development. Recently, we've seen a flurries of policies coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria as it relates to monetary policies. And the recent one being that you can't take anything less than maybe 20,000 or 100,000 or 500,000. We also saw the House of Representatives calling the CBN to come and give some answer some questions, and the CBN responded by saying that, look, Mr. President is with us, hook, line, and sinker in dealing with this. A member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Ndidi Elumelu, came out to say, look, whatever the CBN is doing now is backed by laws that we have made. But the question is, how right is the timing? We also recall that before now, there's been conversation about redesign of the Naira, which has already come into effect based on the timeline given by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Politicians came out to say, look, this is a political strategy by those in position of authority to emasculate and skew the whole process. Let me bring it back to our panelists here, Honorable John Yakubu and Bryce Gentleman Amego, to ventilate their views on this issue. Let me start with you again, John. Yeah.
Well, I really don't, to be honest with you, policies which churned out by federal government through the central bank is assumed to kind of help the economy to grow. But this particular one, by the grace of God, and I'm an accountant by profession, I read accounting, I really do not know how allowing a POS operator who, because there is no job to do, decided to go to bank to obtain the POS machine with which he dispense money and get some commission to feed his soul and body. How giving out 20,000 on a daily basis will help that person. Because if you have an economic policy that is not helpful, that will not show, that will not reflect in the life of the people you are doing it for, then that policy is not supposed to be in existence. I really don't know, because some of us, I patronize them. Some of us patronize them, most especially when you are out of town and you don't have banks anywhere and you need to spend cash to people and do things that you need to. You go there and they cite a card, they give you 20,000 naira and they collect a commission of less than 500 naira. If a man's commission of less than 500 naira is what you think he will earn a day and go back home, I think for me, I really don't want to argue it as an expert, but I'm looking at it from the economic point of view. For a man whose job is giving out money, if he gives out about 100,000 a day, he probably would have earned 2,500. And to a very large extent, if he's not careless, that probably will make him a meal for the day. But if you have now removed that from that man, what do you give back to him? What do you give back to him to survive?
So you have a problem with the timing?
Not just the timing. It's not the timing. Okay. It is the amount of money involved. We are not talking about 200,000. You mentioned 20,000 because I've not had time to actually digest and go through. It's 20,000 a day for a POS operator. For you, as an individual, you are entitled to probably withdraw 100,000 naira a day. When you go back
for a week.
For a week.
Yeah. And that can sustain you.
That cannot, to a very large extent, cannot sustain those who do business on cash basis. Yeah. We must get to the level, people today go to bank to take ATM because they know it works. Yeah. We must get to the level of that level so that people on their own will begin to embrace the cashless economy. You don't force it on people.
Okay. Well, yeah. Is it, yes, Mefele says so. 20,000, like you said, and lower denomination to the POS. 100,000 for individuals, you and I. So if I want to go and buy...
No, for you people, 100,000.
So if I want to buy diesel, yes. Want to buy diesel now, it's 1,000 naira.
Yes,
I want to buy diesel for my generator, I need 100,000 for a whole week. When my family will not feed, doesn't make sense anyway. There's no money for us to feed, there's no money for children to take to school, there's just no money for nitty-gritty of the family. So that doesn't make sense. But happily enough, he said yesterday that he's going to review it. Definitely, 100,000 cannot work for adults like you and us for a week. Just nonsense. And he has said he's reviewing it. I read it on the page of the newspaper today. We hope that definitely will go higher.
But all of these policies are showing up in the...
Well, what we are talking of timing, we are even late. Because all over the world, people change their monetary
currency.
They change their currency between 5 and 8 years. But we have not done it for 19 years. There is no time set aside to do it. It is now. Let us do it now. And so, Emefiele, as far as I'm not an economist, I'm a lawyer. As far as I'm concerned, Emefiele is on the right track. Now, not depositing more than 100 million or whatever is also on the right track. We must control the money in circulation.
Okay.
There's so much money in circulation, and we have to control it. So you do about 100,000, 500,000, you should review all that, and he has promised he will review it.
Okay.
So please, don't always talk about the timing. Some people always talk about time. What time? What time should it be done? Now, what time?
Fantastic.
It should be done now.
Okay, our studio line will be open shortly, so you can also call and contribute to the discussion. Politics Today on independent television and radio. Let me just get us to look at this issue. One of the banes of Nigeria's development is the cost of governance. And when you hear people talk, it's always in that line. 2023 election is around the corner. How do we realize this to change the narratives, to put Nigeria on that trajectory of development?
Well, honestly, I have to say this. Because outside doing the little business I do to sustain myself, Sonny, you are smiling. I really don't know why.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I really don't know.
Go ahead.
I get involved fully with political activity. But let me say this. Politicians are the most fearful set of creatures on earth. If they know that you are going to hold them responsible and accountable for their misdeeds. But unfortunately, what we do is that we pat their back. We rub their back. You mentioned something about the cost of governance. We have 36 states in this country. If each state have 40 Land Cruiser allocated to only the governor of the state, if not more, in some places, and some of those cars cost as much as 300 million naira for the bulletproof. Honestly, Sonny Duke, thanks that by 36. Exactly. This country is bleeding because of politicians. It's bleeding because we have refused to take responsibility to hold these persons accountable. Why did I say politicians are the most fearful set of people? If they know that you will tell them the correct thing, and you will call them back to account for what they're doing, and for that reason you will vote them out, politicians will begin to behave well. But unfortunately, what do? We accept little stipend from them. We accept small money from them, 1,000, 3,000, a per chair, 5,000. Politicians are very smart people. You know what they do? If a politician gives you 100,000, assuming I'm in the leader's house and you meet me there and you just visited and I give you 100,000. When the pa is asking me about Sonny, I say, "Not my Sonny, he just left here now. I gave him 2 million naira." Do you know what he's doing? He's preparing his mind to steal the government fund so that by the time he starts stealing, you remember that he gave 2 million naira to Sonny. So we must come out as a people to play a part. Don't expect a man who sells his house in Akpakpava to win an election to do well for you. It's not possible. It's not. If he sells his father's house in Akpakpava and for that reason he spends the money winning an election, I tell you, Sonny, he will get times 10 of that house. Because if he doesn't, his friends and follower, brothers and sisters will curse him until he dies. So we must refocus our value system. We must change our political system. We must come back to the basis of knowing, yes, if Sonny is the next governor of this state, how do we assist Sonny to be the governor so that he can work for us? So we want to appeal to the people. But I will first of all appeal to politicians. In 1992, when the governor of the then Bende state,
Ambrose Ali?
No, not Ambrose Ali. When Matthew Ekbadon was the Speaker of the House of Assembly,
okay,
the only car for the House of Assembly was the 504 driven by Matthew. All other members bought their cars themselves or followed the bus to the House of Assembly. But today, what do you see?
What has changed?
It has changed because our value system has changed. It has changed because we have allowed them to continue to steal our money. It has changed because when they give us stipend, at the end of the day, like I said, they will steal the one that is available. We must change. Ali was the governor of this state. Ali was a professor in one of the universities, I think University of Benin. He didn't have millions to spend, but when he was elected as the governor of the then Bende state, he did marvelously well to the admiration of everybody, to the whole Bende state. But what do we have now? The first thing you see is people questioning other persons who are aspiring. I say, oh, he's aspiring to be the senator of this. The first question we hear is, the man get money.
Exactly.
So if the man is investing,
He will reap
from his investment.
In due time.
In due time, he will reap from his investment. So if you begin to ask questions whether the man is rich enough to begin to aspire to rule you.
How do we use 2023 to write all of this, or at least some of this?
Well, it's beginning to unfold. I want to appreciate the people of this state, most people of this country. They are beginning to look at the other side. People are beginning to come out with even their fund. People are beginning to contribute. I don't want to speak in that direction now so that you don't see yourself campaigning against and for any person. But I can tell you that the consciousness of the people right now is so high that a lot of persons will not accept money this coming 2023 election, but they will vote.
All right, so Barrister Mego, quickly, talk to us about this changing phase.
You and I are responsible for the failure
You are very right.
of the politicians. You know, we are reading, we are hearing, we are seeing. Anwar Sadat of Egypt, he died with 11 shares and 7 coats.
11 shirts.
Yes, 11 shares.
And seven
Yes,
coats.
yes, 7 coats. The great teacher of Kenya, he died without a house in Dar es Salaam. The government went to build a small house for him in his village. Bill Clinton was looking for $750,000 to buy a house in New York. He didn't find. Organizations were donating money.
Yes.
But that's President of America. Yakubu Gowon didn't have a house in Jos. Yakubu Gowon. It is the government that built a house for him in his village as a head of state. So, but suddenly things started to change. Why is the executive so bereft of what to do? It is his executive that is responsible. How can you say a senator is receiving over $20 million, naira a month? It's unsayable. House of Leisure will get about it. People have been saying so. If it's not so, let them tell us what they earn. And then the other canopy now is what we call constituency projects. What constituency project? Your father's business to do constituency project? You go and lobby and get 10 naira for constituency project? You come and spend 4 naira for constituency?
4 naira is even too high. 2 naira.
Where is that? In Britain, people are in House of Parliament for 30 years, 37 years.
Yes.
They write Maurice Minor. You just go there every morning, go and talk English. At the end of the month, they pay the little thing. That's enough for them. 30-something years they'll be there. McConnell in America has been there for 38 years. Look at Pelosi. He's been there for how many years?
Almost 40.
He's not a rich woman. I don't know who spoiled this country. I don't know who gave them all this that they are now receiving.
But they said it's politicians.
They receive more than the president.
No, but they said it's politicians.
Yes. Well, what is the executive doing? Executive is in charge of the money. Why is the executive not saying something? Why will you approve such amount of money for legislators? They have become octopuses. They have become gods, small gods. And when he's coming, he has a
retinue of cars. 7 cars,
the police loaded, as if one king is coming. You fucking legislator in the house. We are all waiting for you. We are playing our maracas.
Master Mego, no swear word.
I'm talking of.
No swear word.
No.
Okay.
I'm not insulting anybody.
Okay.
We are playing maracas. Oh, they have come.
To be honest, the leader is not insulting anybody.
I'm not insulting anybody.
Yeah. That is the situation on ground, which must change.
We need the complete reorientation. Duke, are you not suffering?
I don't understand.
You are pretending because you can drink garri.
I don't understand. Are you saying that what a guy is saying is wrong? Don't you see them with the retinue of cars and what have you?
They come to your house, the police jump and they surround your house.
Let's get the people now to contribute to the program. Let the people speak now as we open our studio line dial the studio number. You'll see it shortly on the screen.
Yes.
And then you contribute. Hello, caller. Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. It's Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, go ahead, Soniga Dosa. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Time will fail me to greet gentleman amigo, even though he's not gentle, and to thank my distinguished senior brother who has constantly fought for this state, and surprisingly, all of us have always said that he's talking too much. I hope we have joined him there when he was fighting the almighty governor there. I'm sure some of those issues would have been resolved. Surprisingly, he stood alone. Today, now he's still talking. I'm sure that's the reason why some of them are not in Abuja. They're always in the village. You know, some few days ago, I was just thinking, look at someone like Henry Dagbo. He was a local government chairman. He's back to his chamber. Look at John Yakubu. He's back to his business. Look at even Nogayi or Nogama. I'm not sure whether we got that correct. Victor. He's back to his business. But all that are coming right now, they are relocated to UK or US or New York. And they say they are so patriotic. So to stop all these issues that we are talking about right now is to ask ourselves, do we need to continue? Should we continue? Do we want to continue? Because at the end of the day, he made a statement. I often said that if the heat is too much in the kitchen, it's time for you to get out. If you know you cannot stay.
Yeah.
He was constantly speaking about the local government. That's why I was praying for him then that even though I do not have sympathy for the party he came from, but I was praying that he should win. So that at least for once, local government will be delivered from state government. But at the end of the day, he fought alone. So if you look at 2023, we need to ask ourselves, he shed his thought on the money that was reported by federal government. To deal with all this matter is to beg our National Assembly. Let us remove the issue of whether the executive order, the explosive list, from federal government. Federal government only have a house in Abuja, not in any state. Let the various state government now be the one to tie roads so that they will remove the idea of federal roads from federal government. Instead of collecting 52% every month, let federal government now go to 10% because they only have to help us deal with the issue of foreign policy and all that. So that state and local government will have enough money. They will be able to deliver the local government from the hand of state government. Until that one is done. I don't know why federal government will be in Abuja. They want to start on the Benin. For over 15 years, we are still trying to repair Benin Ochi Road. We are trying to repair Benin Agbo Road, Benin Wari Road. So he said that we don't want to continue. Let's get our National Assembly. Let us deliver the 52% of federal government. Return it back to local government.
All right, John, I said John, Sonny Yadusa, I need to pause you there because we have limited time. We need to take more calls. Yes, good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Yes, good morning. What's your name?
I'm from Benin.
Yes, go ahead, please.
The situation we are facing in our country.
Yes, first and foremost, you need to turn down the audio level on your TV.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead.
The situation we have in the country is alarming.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
And our people, the masses are so improvised that they don't even know how to reason for themselves anymore. All we needed now, let the masses begin to take charge over the affairs of their life.
Okay.
Let them decide to vote for the correct person that will give us good governance, that will be able to make use of the money we are earning in this nation and use it for the masses.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, Kala, good morning. What's your name?
Hello?
Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, my name. My name is USA.
Okay, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from St. Saviour's.
Go ahead, please.
My good brother Okoso. You see, in life, you must not pretend not to know what is coming to your eyes.
Yeah.
And our father there, Amigo, said, who really spoils our country? I am the man who made the big discovery. The people that killed us, spoiled our country, are the people that went to school. This set of Nigerians, they didn't know education was designed to create a better human society. After graduation, we got job, we started stealing without creating innovation. This is how we got here. Europe and America, go and find out. Educated people are the ones that fix their countries. How come in our country, they are the real people doing the damage? look at the irony. They pretend as if we don't know what is going on. Check if you can see a record of a driver or a driver, maybe a tomato seller at Secusa Market, ever involved in the irresponsible looting of our collective wealth. It has been the work of professors, lawyers, doctors, engineers, accountants. If I am lying, let somebody call and counter what I have said. Therefore, if you want to solve Nigerian problem, first of all, address the people that went to school. Let them understand that education is not to build a house, buy a car, this, and destroy the human society. Rather, it's using it to create ideas so that when they are in power, they will know what to do with our amazing resources. Nigeria have no business being a poor country.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you very much. I mean, that's a very lucid point that you just raised. Yes, caller, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Turn down the audio level on your TV or radio. Turn it down. Turn it down. All right.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Joe, good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Siri. I want to use this opportunity to salute your analysts there.
Thank you.
They have done great job to this particular topic. You see the issue of Nigeria. The foundation of this issue, the whole problem we are just discussing about, is our constitution.
Okay.
That is the foundation. So for us to correct all these issues we are talking about now, we need to readdress our constitution. You see, most of these politicians, they are always having their way because of our constitution. And I want to also beg the leaders, the party leaders, whenever they are bringing the aspirants, it begins from the party, the foundation. They collect so much money from these people before they will not get to the main election. Okay, look at what happened in delegates the other day. You saw the dollarization, how they were spending dollars. So the foundation want to address this issue, we have to start from our constitution. We have to begin from there. And then beg the party leaders. It's just like that, the way my honorable said just now. Who sold his father's house at Akpabamba to play politics? You know, when he get there, he will get some of it. So that is just my submission, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Our studio line is still open. Please dial it and let's get your contribution to the discussion. I mean, the people should talk now. We brought the discussion to you in your house, in your home, wherever you are, to your living rooms. We need you to get to be part of the discussion. Yes, good morning, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Good morning.
My name is John.
Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I thank my honorable mayor that with you here. I just give it thanks because he's a man.
We just missed that up a little bit, but I'm sure you can still call and be part of the discussion. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name?
Hello, good morning, Sonny Duke.
Yes, sir.
My name. I'm calling from the name.
All right, please go ahead. ULO, sir. Again.
In the course of the discussion, one of your discussants there, Yakubu precisely, said the president was late in the day. We're talking about local government autonomy and all of that. And why did he not sign the local government autonomy law? I think Yakubu knows better. That the president had signed an executive order which was challenged and set aside with respect to the funds of local government.
Okay.
And in making local government fully autonomous, it's a constitutional amendment which the role of the president is to assess. Now, there's an amendment going on currently that has been sent to the state for Sonny, you are aware as a media personnel that as we speak today, not up to 20 states have passed it and sent back to the National Assembly. I think he, as a very active politician, should be able to say, my governor of Edo State, this is something that is good for the local government autonomy. He is in the same party. How much has he been able to put pressure on the governor so that they will be able to put pressure on the state government, on the local government?
So in a nutshell, you are saying the governors are the big problem as it relates to local government autonomy. That's the point you're making.
Because even he, no politician today will ascend the office of governorship that will allow autonomy. It is like legislating against yourself. Let me tell you, Sonny, local government, they use this to control the party because the local government chairmen and officials, they are members that they use to be able, when you talk about this indirect primaries, that's what they use to control the party. So
They always have to be in control. So it is nearly an impossibility for you to amend the constitution to that extent of giving full autonomy to the local government. It's just like, as we are shouting now, in part of one of the discussions said that the money that the National Assembly receives is much. Who is going to legislate against it? Will they legislate against themselves? Those that are starting to say, when they get to the office, will they be able to pass that bill or send a member bill to say, let us legislate it? Because this thing has to do with legislation.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Can we come by a private member bill? Let us legislate it downwards. If we can say it when we are outside, when we get with different boxes.
So where will the change, when and how will the change come from, Pastor Yelo Sawage, in all of these? Yes, when and how will the change come from? We are in this mess, we are in this situation.
If you listen very well to what people have been agitating for, that there must be an organic law from the people. That this constitution is our problem.
Okay.
Sonny, the truth of the matter, until the constitution comes from the people, let these things be. The way the constitution is right now, I can tell you, Sonny, it is possible to give local government autonomy.
Okay.
Because the state will not allow it.
All right. Let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. Yes. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Yes, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Morgan.
Yes. Go ahead.
My name is Morgan.
Morgan, go ahead. Go ahead.
My name is Morgan.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, talk.
Morgan.
Okay, apparently you can't hear me due to some technical hitches, but we're just on the verge of capping it up on the show today, but let's see if we can take one additional call. Hello, caller, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Let's get your final word. Hello, caller, good morning. What's your name?
Hello, my dear.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
You know why I come back, my dear? It's Mr. USA. No matter the policy you put on ground, when citizens don't love their country, there is nothing you can do.
Absolutely.
We, the educated class, must change our thinking. The moment we can change our thinking, we don't need to be talking of disunity, divides, and we need autonomy. It's because we are not looking at the interests of our dear nation. That is
okay, thank you. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Quickly.
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Patrick for calling for Benin.
Yes, go ahead, Patrick.
Yes. I want to tell you that even if the government have autonomy, we will not get the necessary development we require. Let me give you an instance. In those days, when I was in secondary school in Benin, local government will create access roads in the locality. I was staying near Edo College in those days.
Okay.
By this time, they will supply sand and grade. Local government collect money. I can see from May day, you have people wearing t-shirts. What do they do with the money? If you give them autonomy, the same thing will still happen. I'm telling you. Okay. So we should readdress our conscience.
Okay, so now you find out those monies that they collect at Main Gate, at Ring Road, at Upper Market, and all of those places. Find out where the money goes to. Who controls that money? Yeah.
I don't see where it goes to.
So that's the question. Does the money? Do they have access to those money? 100%. Do they control those monies? 100%.
That is good.
Yeah.
So if you give autonomy, we don't see the same thing.
Okay. I don't think it will be the same thing. Yes, there are bound to be problems and challenges at the initial stage, but all of that will naturally fall into place. Anyway, thank you for your contribution. We appreciate you. Okay, that's the much we have on the discussion, but let's take our parting shot, gentlemen, before we call it a wrap. Nigeria is in dire strait, in need for someone who can take the country from where it is now to where it ought to be. A lot of people have presented themselves. I'd like to get your, without necessarily campaigning, but we can really feel your pulse on this one.
Well, let me quickly say, the man who talked about educated people being responsible is 100% correct.
Okay.
Very correct. But beyond that, he ought to have added another point. The Christians and the Muslims are in the same, in one hand. Because, Sonny, those who signed files with which millions and billions are stolen in Nigeria, they are either Christian or they are Muslim. None. Go and check the file. None will put there that I'm an Ogun server. When they say, what is your faith? So the man who talked about educated people, he should have added that we are 100, all of us, including your very humble self. You know how? No, you know why? Because we have not come out enough to challenge the status quo.
Okay.
Until that is done, until we take responsibility for that, we are all in the league of making sure that things are not working well. Okay. I tell you this, if tomorrow, Sonny, you are appointed as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, your first enemies are going to be your friends and your brothers and sisters. I'll
be different.
No, I'm not saying you, I'll hold on, I'm just using you as a name.
Yeah.
You know what they will do a few weeks after? We say, oh, they just gave him appointment. He's not building houses for his brother. He's not making them rich. He's not... Where do we go from here as a people?
2023 is here.
We cannot continue like this and expect all to have a good government that will be there for the people.
Okay. Basamego, last word.
Well, to say that educated people are the cause of the problem, I don't quite buy that argument. Okay. Because you are not educated, you cannot do anything. Then we'll go back to the Stone Age, where in the morning you just go to the forest and come back. No movement. We cannot go to the next level. So we need education. The only thing I say, probably we are getting the wrong education. The education is for productivity. Education is for creativity. Education is for to amend the bad situation that we are in now. We can, if we are all decided to do something, we can definitely get there.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yeah, even at that, let me say that for those who are talking, I appreciate all of them that are talking. But we must start from somewhere. Some of them are saying we must remain where we are. We can't be static. If we are static, then we are not going to move forward.
Absolutely.
So someday, somewhere, sometime, we must take a leap to the other side of the river.
Okay, time is up on the show today, but I want to say big thanks to everyone that made the program a huge success, and that includes you, especially you watching or listening from any part of the world. The responsibility to rescue Nigeria is ours. We need leaders who understand the situation and they are ready to give answers, not leaders who will bypass. I mean, of what use is being asked a question you can't answer, you're giving another person to answer the question. It means that you don't have a thorough grasp of what the issues are. It means that you don't have the solutions. It means that you're just there as a rabble-rouser. It means that you're really not there to serve our people. You're just there to serve those who put you there. I mean, look at what Senator Ahmed Lawan said recently that has been shaking Twitter, where he erroneously referred to Shetima as a presidential candidate, making it look like the APC presidential candidate is just there as a placeholder. We need to take this country back. We need to rescue Nigeria. We need to put the right leaders in position of authority, whether at the presidential level, at the governorship level, at the senatorial level, House of Representatives, State House of Assembly, you name it. That's the only way things can change. If we continue like this and give people who cannot even express themselves the opportunity to be in position of authority, then we are in serious problem. One of the things you would appreciate in every American president, when they talk, you will have hope, you'll be convinced, you'll be convicted, you will be happy, you'll be excited. But in Nigeria, that has never always been the case. We have people who come forward to say they want to be this, they want to be that. They cannot even talk to us. They can't communicate with us. They can't engage us. They can't interact with us. I mean, if you look at Vice President Yomi Oshibanjo, when he speaks, for goodness sake, people will listen. That's my take out. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.